Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing my travel budget update. So without further ado, let's go. So guys, first things first, I have to apologize and say that I won't have any travel vlogs for you because I didn't film anything. Like honestly, I was too busy spending time with my friends and like going from place to place that I didn't really film anything. I have taken a bunch of photos. I've posted some of them on my Instagram. Make sure to follow me on there. But yeah, I didn't film any like videos. So I was like, I, I don't have any travel material to show you, but hopefully that's not too bad. I do, however, have an interesting story about my travel budget. So basically, I was in London. I was supposed to leave. It was the 1st of November. I woke up in the morning, got my coffee, and I mentally calculated how much money I had spent. And I was like, oh, like I'm doing good because at that point I had spent only maybe like around 150 euros, which is good for 5 days in London. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy that I'm so below budget. And then I knew I'm gonna go to Brussels the day after, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend some money there, but my budget was 585. So I was like, okay, it's so good. I managed to stay within budget, and then I bought the ticket for a train to go to London Stansted Airport, which was the airport where my flight was taking off from. So I got on the train, and I always like in advance. I'm always 2 hours in advance, and I got out. I picked the train, which would make me 2.5 hours before the plane was supposed to leave at the airport. So basically, I got on the train, and we're sitting on this train, and it's not taking off, and like 10-15 minutes pass, and the driver says yeah that it's cancelled because due to very strong rains and winds there are some obstructions to the tracks, so the train is cancelled. And I start to panic. I get off the train, I go to a worker and say, okay, like what's a different way to get to the London Center to the airport? They're like, there's a bus, but like we don't know how long it's gonna take. And she's like, you have to go buy tickets somewhere. And I'm like, I don't know when it takes off, anything. So I started looking at the taxi options, and the taxi options were like over 100 euros because it's a drive from London to London that is over an hour long. And I was like, okay. And by the time that all happened, all of the people that came off the train started going back to the train. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's going to take off. We go back to the train, we sit down, another 15 minutes passed, and the driver says, sorry, it's been cancelled again. So at that point, I was already like 40 minutes behind schedule. And yeah, I started to panic really bad because I was supposed to fly out on the 1st. And then on the 2nd, I had a full day in Riga. And then I fly to Brussels on the 3rd. But I had plans on the 2nd, so I was like, okay, whatever, la la la. And I go back, like I leave the station because I realized I don't know the bus, like it's gonna take me over 30 minutes to find everything or whatever. So I start calling for a taxi. 7 drivers canceled on me, and they didn't want to take me because it's such a long drive, and they're not sure they're gonna get a person to drive back with, so they will lose money. Basically, I walked like four quarters, what are they, like 4 streets away from the station, and I thought maybe there's a bigger chance somebody will accept me there. Basically, somebody accepted me. We drove. I paid over 100 euros for the taxi. He dropped me off at the airport. I started running. I started sprinting for my life. Like I never run in my life, so that was like the highlight of my life. And I made it to the gate 1 minute after they closed the gate. I didn't make my flight, and in all of my 24 years of life and over 15 years of traveling, I have never once missed a flight. And it was extra painful because it wasn't even my fault, it was the train being cancelled. And at that moment, I just fell to the ground because I hadn't eaten anything since like 11. I had sprinted through the entire London Stansted Airport for like at a speed I don't know with Usain Bolt, and I was so out of breath, and I thought I'm gonna faint, and I just fell to the ground and like how am I gonna get home? So basically I gave into a little moment of panic, a little moment of uh, weakness, and then I called my mom, and she's like, okay, you have to get the tickets next morning. So I got the new tickets next morning. I paid for a hotel, I paid for a taxi back to the hotel, and I also paid for a dinner at the hotel. So basically that morning when I said, "Oh, I'm well below budget," that was the universe taking a piss on me and saying, "Nah." So I went 400 out of the budget that I had. Like I just spent 400 euros extra because I missed a flight. And then Brussels was uneventful. We didn't do anything, nothing major happened, so I didn't spend any more money like over what I wanted to. So basically, long story short, I missed my flight, I went over budget, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So 585 was the budget for these 9 days technically, and these are the expenses I did all throughout London and Brussels. And here you can see I started calculating left from the total, so the total was 585 and I subtracted everything. And here by the time we get to the hotel and the new plane tickets, I went over budget. So all of the expenses until the end of Brussels puts us below budget, like minus 169 euros and 19, which I kind of rounded to 170. So I technically owe myself 170 on top of the 585. So this is the tab that I took to Brussels with me. So this was supposed to be the dining, this was supposed to be the groceries and miscellaneous. So this should be 585, which was kind of the budget for this trip. And we will see how much I owe. We're going to go back to our travel envelope and see how much we can take out from there, but I have to pay back myself 170 euros. So 200, 300, 400, 450, 500, 520, 40, 60, 70, 85. Okay, so this is all going back to my bank account because this is the 585. And then we have to go to our travel envelope and see how much we have if we can pay back, and if not, then we'll see how much we have left to stuff to get it back. So travel. Okay, so travel, we need 170 into our bank account, and we have 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 260, 265, 66, 67, 68. Okay, so we do have 170 here. I'll probably put 200, 50, 100, 50, 200, and take back 30 to put back. So 20 and 30. So let's count how much we have left over in travel. The damage done to our travel envelope, we have 50, 70, 80, 90, 95, 96, 97, 98. So 98 in our travel. That's not too bad. We have a little bit less than 100 in travel. And then this altogether, which is going to go back into my bank account, should be the budget of 585 plus the 170 we overspent. So 755. That's a very expensive trip I took. 755 should be on here. 200, 300, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 720, 40, 55. So 755, that's indeed the amount that's going to back into my bank account. I'm very glad that we had the leftover money from travel to put back immediately into my account, but I was so very grateful that I had this little cushion on my emergency fund in my bank account, because if I didn't have that money, I would not have the money to spend on the tickets and on the hotel. And I knew that once I come back, I will stuff more and just pay that money back. But this kind of all experience showed me the importance of having a little cushion in your bank account, because you never know what happens and whatever. So yeah, that's quite fun. This was the story of how I missed my flight, how I traveled, and yeah, let me know in the comments down below if that has ever happened to you. Have you missed a flight, and if yes, why? And yeah, so that was kind of a very short, very straight to the point video about my travel budget update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. We have fun over here, and we always have stories like this, chaotic stories to tell you. But yeah, I'll be back very soon with a side hustle cash stuffing sometimes this week, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, in the meanwhile, I wish you a very wonderful week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.